Good afternoon, everyone. So good to see all of you here today. Welcome to the JB Font Show on the JB Font channel. So good to see every single one of you in the chat, as well as watching at home or watching at work or just listening if you are. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I am your host, James Fauntleroy. Just to let you guys know that the JB Font channel is available on all major podcast platforms like Google, Anchor, Apple, and Spotify podcasts. So you can subscribe to me also there. So if you're on the go, you can listen to me. I'm also part of the Revolutionary Blackout Network. You can find me on the JB Show on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can find me on the Roundtable at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, please make sure to smash down that subscribe button and click the bell icon to notify you whenever I do go live. So, because you know the YouTube algorithm doesn't like us. But just want to give a shout out to my patrons on Patreon as well as Coffee. Thank you so much once again for your contribution to helping me keep the lights on. It is deeply helpful, and I get to keep the lights on, both literally and figuratively. Also, just to let you guys know, if you guys are not subscribed to me on Rumble, please make sure to subscribe on Rumble. And it is good to see all of you here today. One of the things I actually want to say is, Angela, you are absolutely right. Hard Lens Media does rock. Hence, one of the reasons why I have Heartlands Media's own Kit Cabello here with me today. It is good to see you, my friend, around in the home of Chicago.
Well, thank you so much. It's really good to be on your channel again, and also to collaborate with the great people at Revolutionary Blackout Network. Really impressed with how far you guys are growing and staying one step ahead of the censorship. In case anyone is just hearing about this now, I do want to bring up something that's happening to a colleague of ours, and that is Case Study QB. Now, it used to be when you used to go onto his Twitter account incognito, not logged in, you did have to click yes to see his videos. But now Twitter has basically taken down and heavily suppressed his page to where you have to be logged in to go on Case Study QB's page. And I tweeted this under the Hardlands Media account to where, okay, what is it that's so sensitive that people 18 years or older have to check out? And all they are is just clips of Fox News, MSNBC, and CBS. And so you can check this out right now on your phone, on Twitter right now. I took screenshots of it and I posted on the Harlan's Media Twitter account. There were 3 screenshots of it that I took. And yeah, no problem, Case Study. Glad to be exposing Twitter, because what they're doing to his channel is wrong. But also at the same time too, I'm not really upset about it. Normally I'd be enraged. And I look for Case Study QB. Look, I am enraged about it. But on the other hand too, this makes me feel good in a way, because thank you, Twitter, for confirming to all of us that corporate media truly is a problem. Thank you, corporate media, for showing us that it's not really an authoritative source. Because since you're saying that all these posts that Case Study QB is putting up there are deemed sensitive or questionable, or people 18 years or older should check it out, well, then you're basically confirming that all CNN, all of MSNBC, Fox News, and all their content are really questionable, and we need to fact check it. So Twitter, you're basically saying that anyone that shares anything from corporate media, well, hey, maybe it's the source. But again, the censorship is getting rough, and I'm very upset that this is happening to a colleague of ours, Case Study QB. So that means you have to be logged in to go onto his Twitter page to even see any of his content. It's not right. It's not fair. But on the other hand, too, Twitter, thank you for once again confirming to us that corporate media is BS. And again, much love to Case Study QB. We were glad to at least share that story. But again, it's maddening.
Yeah, love to the Case Study QB. If you're not subscribed to his Twitter, please make sure to subscribe to his Twitter, as well as to his channel on YouTube. It's basically exactly how you see it there, Case Study QB. Go ahead and subscribe to both his social media as well as his YouTube channel. Because number one, we don't tolerate suppression, but it's also an indicator of what we're dealing with. So yeah, Thank
Yeah,
you for basically revealing the truth, and being a institution for those of us in the independent left media. I appreciate
right.
it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, check out
Um,
his work on Odyssey and on YouTube as well. And check out his work for the People's Gauntlet. So
mhm,
there we go. Shout out again to Case Study QB. He's doing phenomenal
mhm,
work. But
yeah.
again, it's and it was FaZe that told me about this last before we went on live on air. He was like, "Hey, I have to log into our Twitter account because Twitter's saying that I have to be 18 years or older just to log in so we can play this video." And I'm like, "What?" And it's yeah. So there's no adult material or content. There's no drug use. There's nothing questionable there. All it is just some politicians and pundits talking from MSNBC to Fox. It's messed up.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's wild, man. Because um, you know, from the Disinformation Governance Board that the Biden administration is trying to implement, to censorship on YouTube, to censorship on Twitter, uh, you know, there's a lot of people, particularly that typically are right wing, that complain about being canceled or censorship. And it's like, no, come to me when you're on the left and you see the censorship that happens to us. And it is way worse because we're literally going up against the established order in order to improve the material conditions, which means taking away power from the very extremely small minority who wield it in such a way that it oppresses us. So, with that being said, then they view people like Case Study, Heartland's Media, the JB Font Show, MCSE Network, Jimmy Dore, people like the Indie News Network. They view people like us as a threat. Revolutionary Blackout Network. They view us as a threat. And the reason why is because people are waking up, and the dissension that we are helping to facilitate is a dissension from oppressive influences. And so, because of that, this is one of the reasons why we tell you, if you're not subscribed, to make sure to subscribe. Just like I told you to subscribe to Case Study QB, make sure you do it also to, Heartlands Media. Make sure you do it to MCSE. Make sure you do it to, Revolutionary Blackout Network, the Indie News Network, all these different channels. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you also, if you like what you're hearing, please make sure to click the like and also even talk to us in the comment section about what you think. Reason being is because the engagement also helps us to fight the algorithm because it tends to be more favorable towards things like that. Why? Because the thing is that we're literally being throttled. We're literally being suppressed. And the thing is that what I want every single one of you to realize is that they want more compliance than anything.
Hmm.
You are not a robot. You are not a drone. You are a human being with complex thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and dreams and hopes. And the fact that you express those is a threat to them because that means that you want to have the power in your own hands to determine your own life.
Agreed, 100%. And the thing is, when we look at and maybe this might be a little bit off topic, but the fact that censorship is being cheerleaded on, especially by the liberals and quote unquote larger progressive networks, it really shows that the past few years, from 2016 onwards, all this talk about building a movement, at least from these larger platforms, all this talk about getting things done and actually trying to bring in change into Washington D.C. from these politicians. It was
Mhm.
all talk. It was all a good game. that a lot of people fell for. And with the absolute failure in regard to how our government handled COVID-19,
Yeah.
this economic recession that we are in, um, more people are coming to terms with the fact that we've been abandoned. We have
Yeah.
been ignored. And the thing is, it's not that people are bitter, because I want to quote something that I saw from the video that Compton J shared. It had Jen Perlman interviewing Nina Turner.
Hmm.
People aren't bitter. People aren't just being petty.
Hmm.
People are enraged and angry, and they have every right to be angry, because when you hear stories of people being evicted from their homes,
Hmm.
or excuse me, allergies and everything, when you hear about people being evicted from their homes, or still paying off their student loan debt, even after they paid thousands of dollars already, they're still paying off the interest and nothing's really changing.
Hmm.
um, a lot of Americans are realizing that they're in a system where the government is okay to see people die, see people out there on the streets. And we have these uncaring politicians like Nancy or Dianne Feinstein, or Chuck Schumer, or
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell, or even Biden himself. These are senior citizens who are from a different time in America's history, who have gold plated health care and are always surrounded by a shield wall of lobbyists and donors. They're okay. Corporate media is going to go to bat for them. But what about the people? So when it comes time to question these progressives that were supposed to raise the ruckus, people like Nina or Bernie or AOC,
Yeah.
we, as individuals on the outside, are seeing them do nothing but compromise and bend over backwards. And look, I get that politics is the game. I get that you're not always going to get things done super fast.
Yeah.
But the amount of how little was achieved since 2016 up until now by the progressives, by people like Bernie, by people like AOC, and the entire Congressional Progressive Caucus, well, why should we be enraged? And then we're being told to be censored. We need to be careful what we say, what we do. Oh, you're not looking at the full perspective. JB, when you called out the fact that, look, and I'm not going to quote you verbatim, but excuse me, you were saying how you had a feeling that Nina Turner was going to lose her election, and you didn't
Yeah.
want to see it, but it was
Hmm.
quite clear that the Democrats were all in to sabotage her campaign.
Hmm.
The progressives as a whole, not even just the progressives in the Democratic Party, but progressives who are holding out this hope that somehow the Democrats are going to wisen up and change their ways. They're not going to do it,
Yeah.
because the whole game is Democrats make promises. If they get a majority, they're going to have a select few Democrats be the quote unquote bad guys, the blue dog Democrats,
Hmm.
and nothing's going to be done. But they'll try and give us crumbs and say, "Hey, we baked you a cake." No, no, no. It's not going to work anymore, and it's getting worse out there already, especially with the fact that, and this is something that's being ignored by corporate media, but the economy is really starting to fall down. Stocks are falling, inflation is rising. Here in Chicago, I was at a Costco, and this was the cheapest place where I could get gas, because Costco's policy is to be cheaper than the surrounding areas. It was close to $5 a gallon. $5 a gallon for my car.
Hmm.
For many Americans, $5 a gallon, that's a bridge too far. Like, for many Americans, they're wondering, oh, do I put gas in the car, or do I buy medicine? Do I put gas in the car, or do I get food? Do I put gas in the car, or do I pay off my student debts? People have a right to be angry. It's not being bitter, especially to these people who have larger platforms. You need to wake up to the fact that all this game that you were speaking for 2016, 2017, 2018, 2020, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
We don't have time for it anymore.
Hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the thing is we're at a point right now where if you look at what the Democratic Party, including the squad, has lacked in doing, you get to a point where is it a failure to act or is it now complicity? That's now the question. Because if you look at what they put their priorities in, how long did it take them to approve that $40 billion to send to Ukraine, to the Nazis over there in Ukraine? How long did it take for them to send that? They approved it in 1, 2, 3. How long did it take them to send you $1,400? That's a I mean, we should really be asking this question. Any single time, every time you ask a question about doing things for the people, it's a long, drawn out process that fails every single time. But when you have to fund things like subsidies or tax breaks or funding for wars, like for instance, the money that goes to Israel to fight, commit basically genocide against Palestinians. Well, that's easy. They come up that money really quick. The money that they give to Saudi Arabia to do the proxy war in Yemen, they do that
Yep.
quickly. The money that they approve to send over to Ukraine, that part of that money is going to be going off to the Azov Battalion, which is a bunch of neo Nazis over there. Well, guess what? They approve of that too, and it's so quick, and it shows where their priorities are, where their priorities lie. And I want people to realize that you look at what they do, not what they say, because they are look. The grift is in the duopoly.
Exactly. Well, no, it's more than that.
Yeah.
It's just that notice $40 billion. Everyone was all on board for it, even Bernie Sanders, and there was
Mhm.
11 Republican senators, U.S. senators, who
Yeah.
voted against it. Now, I want to make something very clear here when it comes time to looking at these Republican senators.
Mhm.
Don't give them too much praise. Yeah, they did something quote unquote right, but there's a couple of ways of looking at it because this is Washington D.C. after all.
Yeah.
Perhaps they had the ability to be like, okay, we'll be the nay votes against it. This is also a game for them because let's face it, the Republicans, they want to undermine something from the Biden-Harris administration. They'll do
Yeah.
so. But then again, why was it these 11 Republicans? Where was Bernie? If he was so anti-war, why was he silent in this? Why was he all gung ho for it? I remember Bernie Sanders in the 2016 or 2020 primary campaign trails where he was saying, we have money for war, but we don't have money for our schools or our
Mhm.
education or our healthcare or our infrastructure. So, Bernie, how are we going to pay for this? Excuse me, folks.
Mhm.
How are we going to pay for this? How are we going to pay for something that we know for a fact, again, is in many ways a proxy war between us and Russia?
Yeah.
And the fact that in that same day, $48 billion was also denied to small business owners and entrepreneurs because, $48 billion was just too much.
Yeah. What did Tupac say? We got money for war, but we can't feed the poor.
Yep, or either that. I don't know the full poem of it. I think Jimmy Dore read it, but Whitey's on the moon. Look, I wish I could quote the poem verbatim. You know what? Hey, wait, I got the internet right before me, so here we go. Let's go ahead and check this out.
Yeah.
Whitey's
But it's true. I mean,
here we go. A rat done bit my sister, Neil, was Whitey on the moon. Her face and arms began to swell. Whitey's on the moon. I can't pay no doctor bill, but Whitey's on the moon. 10 years from now, I'll be paying still. Whitey's on the moon. The man just upped my rent last night because Whitey's on the moon. No hot water, no toilets and lights, but Whitey's on the moon. I wonder why he's upping me because Whitey's on the moon. I was already paying my 50 a week. Was Whitey on the moon? Taxes take my whole damn check. That hasn't changed. Junkies making me a nervous wreck. The price of food is going up. Oh, how true that is. And as if it's all that shit wasn't enough, a rat done bit my sister, Neil. Was Whitey on the moon? Her face and arm began to swell, but Whitey's on the moon. Was all that money I made last year for Whitey on the moon? How come there ain't no money here? Whitey's on the moon. I just about had my fill of Whitey on the moon. I think I'll send these doctor bills, airmail special, to Whitey on the moon. There we go.
Mhm. Wow. It's pretty good. Yeah. man, I'm telling you, man, it's at a point right now where, and the thing is you can focus on like the Republicans who voted against it, and by no means they're not anti-war because they voted
No.
against it. It's just it was the wrong country to them. If it were China, then they would have voted for it. Because the thing is that is ultimately it's just Russia's just not their focus. You know.
Well, you are well aware that MSNBC recently played a little war game with one group of pundits facing off. Excuse me. Allergies. Anyways, what happened was there was two groups of pundits. One being China, the other one being America, and they were playing a war game in 2037 where the U.S. was fighting China over Taiwan. Are you aware of this video in question? Because it's on Case Study QB's Twitter page. It's up there.
Now I'm interested.
All right, let's hold on. I'm actually going to do a little search for it, see if we can get it, because I know it's in the show notes in one of our shows. So
Okay,
that's why I have.
I saw that board game. Shit was wild.
Well, what it was a real sign of how we have these politicians that are on board with playing this game of, making war entertaining. They're making war fun. So hold on, I'm going to send this to you right now. Oh, no, wait, hold on. I have it right here. And it's not on Case Study TV's page. It's actually another one. Here we go. It's from Meet the Press. In fact, let's go ahead and show it to our audience. There you go. Send it to you private chat. There it is.
Oh, Lord. Let me see.
It's hilarious.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
All right. Let me. Oh, gosh. Okay, let me share my screen really quick. This is gonna be my fresh reaction to this. So
wait, so you haven't seen this? You haven't seen this at all?
No.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, I actually did a clip segment on this, and one of the thumbnails we used was the caricature from Fallout, because the lore to the story is there was a nuclear exchange between China and the U.S., and that's what caused Fallout to be the wasteland that it is. And I just find it interesting that they're playing this game here. So let's enjoy it. It's hilarious.
All right, let's go.
The press reports, we put together a remarkable war game simulation of how the U.S. might react if China invaded Taiwan. The National Security Think Tank Center for a New American Security, or CNAS, convened two teams. The blue team, representing the United States.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, blue team.
What?
Woo! Blue team. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you cannot, no, Kit, you cannot be telling me this is seriously?
Hey, no. Here's the thing that I like, that I've noticed that's happened a few times. Sometimes I drop some truths or make a little fact that people are like, what? Quit fucking around. You're not serious. And I'm like, oh, I just found this gem. This is serious. Here it is. It's like that scene from Blue Velvet when the character shows the police chief or police detective the human ear, and he says like, yep, that's a human ear, all right. Like, yeah, it's a fucking human ear. You're seeing this right here. Team Blue. Yay!
Oh,
You're on Team Blue, my friend.
Oh, this is gonna be.
You're only a few seconds into it, my friend. Hold on.
I know. I just don't. Oh my God, my hand is like shaking just to not press the enter button to start it again. Oh God. Oh God.
There you go.
I'm gonna keep the trash can close to me in case I need to vomit. Okay. All right. Let's go.
United States, and the red team representing China.
Yeah.
Which side would prevail? Would China attack the U.S. mainland? Could nuclear war break out? The conflict takes place in 2027. There are 3 rounds of strategy, and I spoke to the game master after each round to see where the conflict
A game master, the dungeon master.
As you can see here on the map is a very large concentration of Chinese People's Liberation Army forces at potential ports of debarkation for an invasion.
We want to focus on a last-ditch effort to deter.
What is the purpose of this? Like, my question to them is, what is the purpose of this? Like,
War is fun. War is fun. It's a game. It's a game. Don't worry. Those pieces on the map, they're not people. They're not with people, with friends, family, loved ones. Don't worry. This won't lead to a thermonuclear exchange between 2 global superpowers that can vaporize the human species like that. I mean, at least when Thanos did his little snap, you know, it was merciful. And dare I say it can be argued somewhat maybe painless. But then again, this right here is absolutely deplorable because this is deemed as news from authoritative sources. Let's play a hypothetical game to get people so freaked out about China so that when we do engage with conflict with China, people will be used to it. But by the way, the fact that they're showing a conflict over Taiwan, I have to correct the record. If you're going to play as China and if you're going to want to play as Fallout, invade Alaska. China has to invade Alaska. We're going to go on the Fallout timeline. Go for Alaska, China.
God, this is truly the evil empire.
Only people who played Fallout will get the reference, but it's hilarious because here you have Team Blue and they're like, we got these pieces on the board, we got to do something. They have a game master. Hold on, wait, I'm gonna roll 4 6s, right? They take out your general. I win, JB. I win. Your look is priceless. I'm surprised that you haven't seen this. Hey, you know what you should do? Share this with your friends, with your colleagues in Revolutionary Blackout Network. Get their reaction.
You know who's gonna rail about this? Nick.
Rome? Oh, I thought
Nick
Rome.
rail about this. Oh my God.
Hey, wait. Send us a Nick and say, hey, this is from Kit with love. So there you go.
Oh, look. Woo, boy.
It gets better.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Hit that play button, Maestro.
What? Look, why is that every single time you come, you show me something that blows my mind. Every single time you come on my show, I have to prepare myself every single time you come on because you share some news or information with me that makes me just go, what? All right. Let me. Oh gosh.
Here we go.
Let's continue. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
This is a time to be sending the strongest possible message to Beijing, both privately and publicly, that there will be very severe costs if they actually go through with this.
China has sort of seen our reaction to Ukraine, and we want to make sure that we're surprising them with how we react here.
Hit the Americans as hard as we possibly can in the Western Pacific, keep them out of the fight while we move on Taiwan.
I would support an early knockout punch against Guam.
The priority for the first 24 hours is to try to go as fast as possible against Taipei, right? I think it matters to deter United States, Japan, Australia, and other countries from intervening.
All right, Stacey, high level here. What just happened with Move 1?
High level.
This is not news. This is not news. What? They're doing it as if there's Steve Kornacki in front of the board talking about the numbers from the election. This isn't news. Like, why? What? Chuck.
Wait a minute.
Oh
Wait a minute. Hold on. You don't understand.
Like,
You don't.
Oh
You
my
don't understand, everyone. While JB is collecting himself, let me explain, everyone. These are the authoritative sources that YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and
You
Instagram.
gotta be kidding! What? It's not news. It's a get. is more informative than this.
You know what? You're not wrong with that assessment. So, send.
I can't even say anything.
Well, hey, don't worry. These are just civilian people who have six-figure salary jobs connected to Washington, D.C., playing a war game and giving this to the American people packaged as news. I'm willing to bet that they were laughing and joking their asses off, because how much of this was edited? Where they're saying, oh, we need to do this and make this kind of decision. We need to invade here. And yes, Swery, I see what I did. I know what I've done. And I'll do it again. Anytime JB brings you on the show, occasionally, because remember, JB, before we went live, I said, hey, give me a few minutes. I want to pull some things up. I was like, all right, because I knew we were going to talk about Ukraine. I knew we were talking about the 40 billion. I realized, wait a minute, there's a way I could bring in that video. Because, again, you know, a lot of people didn't see our clip for that because, again, YouTube is suppressing Our Lens Media. But yeah, we did a little clip of it. Check out my reaction to it. But I'm glad to share this with everybody, and I hope your colleague Nick, Rome, Sabby Sabs, and everyone else sees this wonderful, wonderful. Compton J included. Anyone else I'm forgetting, please forgive me. Afeni, I believe too. Share this with them and show them, hey, this is news. You gotta get on this level to MSNBC.
Oh, God, I wish this was spiked. Oh, God, I need it. Oh, jeez Louise. I need a hot toddy.
Oh, but it gets better.
Oh, God. Every single time you say that, it breaks me
It
even
gets
more.
better. It gets better.
In the game.
It gets better.
Yo, and you know what's crazy about all this? They're literally getting paid six-figure salaries just to play a game and let people watch them. What is the difference between this and Twitch?
Well,
yes, Heller, they broke me. He broke me. I'm broken. I'm a broken man.
It's all right. Because don't worry, it gets better, and I got something else for you to share with people too, because we're still talking about Ukraine.
Oh, so fuck me sideways. All right, let's go.
Let's play the rest of this.
China's invaded Taiwan. It began by attacking Taiwan's outlying islands near the mainland. Then it followed it with a large air and missile strike on Taiwan and on U.S. bases in Japan and on U.S. bases in Guam and the Northern Marianas. In response to that, the United States followed up with bomber attacks on Chinese ships in port. And there was an air battle over Taiwan where American aircraft flying from the Philippines came in and engaged in combat with Chinese aircraft that were trying to bomb Taiwan.
So after move one, can you assess which team is winning? If you want to find out what the winning move was, and I'm sure you do.
Do you want to find out who's winning?
Subscribe to find out who wins.
Yeah, on the next episode of Dragon Ball GT. That's right.
On the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
I brought up Dragon Ball GT. A lot of people hate it. I liked it. I liked GT. GT was fun. There you go.
Frieza was totally a capitalist. God, you can't tell me that Frieza wasn't. Look, we look. That's for another show. We can totally get in on that. Mm-hmm. Boy, let me tell you, me, you, and Rome. Oh, boy.
Broly's always my favorite though. I like the new iteration of him though.
Yeah. Broly was great. But I'm gonna tell you right now, Rome belongs to the Church of Goku. Just letting you know.
I'm Broly. I'm Broly, man. I am the legendary Super Saiyan. But it's okay because we're still talking because we were talking about Ukraine, right? Because the reason that I use that video segment because corporate media is using this fear pornography, trying to get people, scared of China, scared of Russia, all this fear tactics, which again solves nothing. And the thing is, what a video segment like that does is reinforce to the people that when they see their politicians give $40 billion to Ukraine or give billions of dollars to the military industrial complex, they're like, yeah, it's okay and they're making war seem like it's a fun game that's entertaining. But there's also a sick side of this, even a far more darker side of this fear tactics that we're seeing from this war in Ukraine and war profiteering and the military-industrial complex. And this is something that could unite Democrats, Republicans, independents, libertarians, Greens, socialists in realizing that corporate media is playing this game, and it's our lives that are put in the chopping block. Because if there is a military exchange between us and Russia or us and China, it will eventually lead to mushroom clouds in the sky, and that pretty city that's right over there will be vaporized. I'll be in it too. I hope I'm close to the epicenter so I'm not one of the survivors, because I've seen firsthand with my visit to the Hiroshima Peace Museum what happens to a city when it does get attacked by a weapon of mass destruction of that magnitude. The survivors, if it's between the United States and China or the United States and Russia, there will be no human civilization left. So in our private chat right now, I sent you another link too.
Yeah.
It's from CNN.
Yeah. The thing though is I have to be careful because because they will do copyright claims.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. The only reason why I was able to do the MSNBC one because it was on Twitter, and so it's like I'm showing just a video on Twitter, but
okay.
Yeah, because they like to do copyright claims, and then they'll strike down your It's stupid. Because the thing is that it's literally public information. It's a news channel, but yet CNN wants to do a copyright claim on the news. It's stupid.
That is interesting that they did that to you, because when we play like 3 minutes of this clip on our channel and we didn't get hit. But all right, look, I don't want to do anything to put you at risk, but here I'll give you the gist of it. What it was basically how Russia's neighbor Finland has this huge underground bunker that's inside a parking garage, and they were making it seem like this wonderful place where there's an indoor pool and a gym and a grocery center and a garden and so many other fun things. It was like a fallout shelter, and it reminded me of a scene from The Interview that was done in 2014, when they had James Franco and I think Seth Rogen in it. They were supposed to kill Kim Jong-il or something.
Yeah.
And in that scene, remember when James Franco character was like, hey, North Korea isn't so bad. There's a grocery store filled with food. Everyone's happy. So when the CNN reporter walks into this fallout shelter, right? What a coinkydink. There's a little hockey game going on, and the families are there. Everyone's happy. Everyone's swimming in the pool. To which I got to say, if you're going to take your family out anywhere, would you take them to some underground fucking bunker? Would you take them outside or somewhere else that's far more nicer? It just seems so staged and so fake, so pathetic. That's corporate media. When you have time, you should open that tab for yourself and share it with your friends with Revolutionary Blackout Network. Share it with them.
Yeah. What I will do is I don't think it's a problem to show stills. Yeah, I'll show this still just so that people can see. If I could at least show that, then but
yeah, there it is. There's the little bunker. This is the scene right here when they're walking in. They're like, oh, there's a game playing. It's like, don't give me this shit. That's too fake.
Yeah.
Look, everyone's so happy. They're playing a little hockey game. And then there's the little pool, swimming. And then when they walk out, it's like, it's back to being a regular parking garage then. Like, fuck you.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, there's the indoor pool. He's like, it's incredible.
Bozo can't even dive. Wow.
There's a little bit more. Now, we played only 3 minutes of it. If you want to check out the video, check it out on Harlem's Media. That's where it's at. So
Yeah. Because my channel is significantly smaller, so they may be like, oh, you can't show that because there's a corporate media. They don't. it's always okay for them to show our stuff without giving us any credit, but yet it's, we can't show their stuff. Like they could literally pull this from YouTube, show it on MSNBC or CNN, and I can't do a copyright claim against them because they're the news media. And yet here I am, but for some reason I can't do it. And they can upload that to YouTube. So stupid. But yeah, it's the whole media sphere. It, like Nick always says from RBN, the United States is the most propagandized country in the world. And if you don't think that we don't have state media in this country, I got a diamond encrusted bridge over a volcano to sell you.
Now that sounds like something you craft out of Minecraft. So I would like to see that someday.
Well, I mean, you know, sorry. But yeah, I mean, when you go into, the way, it's funny because they have, this pro-censorship narrative, and then they can put out misinformation. But then when we try to debunk it, we get shut down. But then they can come back and be like, oh, well, I guess we were wrong about these things. Like the whole thing about the jabs, the extra jabs that they were talking about. Well, come to find out on Good Morning America, Dr. Jen was talking about, well, maybe it's not recommended for everybody to get the extra jabs. And it's just like, well, wait a minute. Anybody else that was talking about that, especially experts, were saying that before, and then they were getting censored and canceled over it. But then what? ABC and Good Morning America can actually come out and say, well, it's not really recommended. We don't have enough info on it. It's like, y'all couldn't tell people that from the beginning. And now, since you're an official news source, since everybody else was already talking about it, now you guys can say it, and you guys don't get your channel flagged? What? So it's just beyond, actual logical comprehension as to why they do this. But we all know why. Because anything that goes against the established order, right, it's looked at as a threat, so therefore they have to silence you. But at the same time, they still want to make money off of you, right?
Yeah. So I want to bring up something too, just a quick follow-up to that wonderful video about war between the United States and China.
Oh, God.
That wonderful little war game. Because there's an article from MSNBC here too, where they go on to say that, well, the United States recommendations is like, their conclusion was that the war would be a prolonged conflict and it would be devastating on both sides. They would also want to say that the U.S. and China, that the U.S., Australia, and Japan should do more to respond in case Taiwan needs help. But again, here's something that they mentioned in the article.
Mm-hmm.
And if it ever does change, I mean, it will lead to conflict. The United States has always chosen not to officially recognize Taiwan because it's technically part of China. It's not. To do so, it's been one of the cornerstones of peace. Look what happened in Ukraine. It was the Biden-Harris administration basically allowing Ukraine, or the potential door open for Ukraine to be a member of NATO.
Mm-hmm.
This is an instigation that the Biden-Harris administration, as well as everyone else that was involved, caused this crisis to get out of hand. To which, again, we're at a point of where we're seeing $40 billion being sent there. And I have no idea what the conclusion of this conflict will be like. But $40 billion, it's going to go to javelins, it's going to go to weapons, it's going to go towards further funding of this proxy war. But yet we can't feed our people. But it's okay. Hey, guess what? We're going to Somalia now, too.
Yeah. I mean, right now, as been reported as a few days ago, President Joe Biden actually reversed a pullout that Trump did out of the country of Somalia.
Yep.
And now Trump is sending, and literally has boots on the ground in Somalia right now to fight, in a terrorist group. I think it's Al Shabaab.
Yep.
And so apparently he has boots on the ground there. Um, and really, if you, all right, why are we in Somalia? Can you give can you just throw spaghetti at the wall and see if it sticks, and just tell me what you think why we are in Somalia, if anything?
Well, there's plenty of reasons why we are in Somalia. One, never forget that the reason why there's been so much instability is because of the influence of the United States and other global superpowers destabilizing the region to abstract resources and also use it as an area for proxy wars to continue on with this ridiculous regime change wars that we're seeing constantly happen. It's to maintain resources, to maintain instability, and not have a centralized government to say, "Hey, stop raping our land, stop taking advantage of our people, and stop taking our resources." That's what's happening in Somalia right now, and it's a long, sad history of what that nation has had to go through. I mean, it was at one point even a colony of, I think at the time, fascist Italy at the time. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Am I on point, or am I missing something?
I'm sorry.
Am I on point with Somalia being at one point being occupied by fascist Italy at one point? Because it kind of led to, that was one of the many reasons that it was destabilized too, because of the aftermath of the Second World War. Or am I wrong on that?
I can't remember, but I know that they have been dealing with a lot of destabilization for a number of years. I remember the conflicts that were going on in Somalia from when I was a little kid. So much so to the point where I was a little girl decided to insult me because how you would see pictures of they would show these pictures from Africa. You know how they do in the United States. They'll show them, in extremely impoverished conditions with flies everywhere and all that.
Yeah.
And a little girl basically tried to say she told me that I look like one of those kids from Somalia. I remember her full
Oh
name
my
too.
God.
I remember her full name and everything. But
Oh my God.
yeah.
That is
That was
so.
yeah. She passed for white, by the way, just to let you know. But um the thing is that the destabilization has been going down there for a number of years. And from what I can tell, my limited knowledge of the country is that it's all primarily because of you know exploitation of the resources. That's really always what it comes down to. And even so much so as to the recent developments in Somalia. um you have different fossil fuel companies talking about how there is this untapped resources of petroleum that are within Somalia that they want to get to. And you now have an onset of fossil fuel companies that want to get in there. And this was actually brought out in the Black Agenda report back in March of last year, where it talked about how really they're in there. It's not because of terrorism, because really, if you look at it, the United States has actually helped establish groups like Al Qaeda. So they're basically trying to get rid of the people that they created. And Al Shabaab is just another faction. So that's what they're basically trying to do. Well, are they really trying to do it? I don't know if they're really trying to get rid of him or they're trying to keep more of a right wing influence there. And so, really, ultimately, it's about trying to establish number one, a puppet dictator so that they can extract the resources, so that they can give an open door to extract the resources out of that country without actually giving the resources to the people and allowing them to have a determination over their resources. So it's the same deal with places like Bolivia. It's the same deal with places like Venezuela. Like the United States wants to go into Venezuela and do the exact same thing. So many like what's going on in Brazil. So that's ultimately what it's about. And look, quote, hear me now, quote me later. But I honestly think that if AMLO in Mexico does not deter from the nationalization of lithium in Mexico, the United States is going to try to send the CIA into Mexico. They're going to.
Right.
And if
But
that doesn't work, boots on the ground.
but here's what's interesting, especially with again our redeployment to Somalia. Hey, what are all those Somali flags in the bios? I mean, we're gonna get any solidarity with Somalia? Hello, anyone? What about Yemen? Libya?
They won't.
What about Venezuela? Colombia? Hello? Hello? Anything? No, probably not. It's interesting to point out, too, because I'm glad you brought up Somalia because, during the war on terror, or at least the high point of it when it was first starting off, there was a film that came out, huge, big propaganda, 2001 war film called Black Hawk Down. Boy, oh boy, talk about rewriting history on that one. So there was a couple of things to take away from it. First of all, one of the lead characters that was played by Ewan McGregor, the guy who played Obi-Wan, turns out in real life that guy was a scumbag who I can't say the word, but he assaulted his daughter, and she was a young age too. Yep, that's something that happened. Another controversy that happened was the dehumanization of the Somalis. They were called skinnies in many ways, but it wasn't meant in a derogatory way. There was also a scene where there was like staged racism in many ways. There was also one scene that was edited out because of the fact they were questioning why they were there in Somalia in the first place. And then Somali nationals charged that some of the African actors chosen to play the Somalians in the film do not resemble the culturally unique features in the Horn of Africa, nor does the language they communicate sound like Afro-Asiatic tongue spoken by the Somali people. They also claim the abrasive way lines were delivered and lack of authentically regarding Somali culture fails to capture the tone, mannerism, and spirit of actual life in Somalia. No Somali actors were used in the film. Plus, again, the way the soldiers were shooting at many of the, quote unquote terrorists, they were making them seem like they were monsters and that they were inhumane. That's something about Black Hawk Down that I think a lot. It's like rewritten history. And
you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never seen it. I was in my senior year in high school in 2001, so I can't say for a fact that that I've seen it at all, but because I wasn't really into war movies, I'm still not really into them. Like if anybody's like, "Have you ever seen Saving Private Ryan?" No. I've seen, I mean the closest to a war movie I've probably seen is Star Wars. But that's probably about it. But yeah, so as far as movies like that, the propaganda goes way back. I'm actually looking at let me see here. I guess this is from IMDb. Let me share it really quick because There's so much propaganda in so many places. There's propaganda in places that we think actually are that we think are just childhood memories from that are what's the word, nostalgic, that are nostalgic for us. And then next thing you know, it's like, yeah, no, I won 2 Oscars. Okay.
It won 2 Oscars. Let's see who was the top cast. There was Ian McGregor, who was in it. His character, the actor who portrayed that guy, scumbag, not Ewan, but the real person. And by the way, the U.S. Army had to tell the producers and the director change that guy's name because he was court-martialed for assaulting a 12-year-old girl. 12-year-old girl.
Wow.
Yeah. Gross. All around. And then again, when you hear some of the lines of dialogue too, it's just like, this is all fake. None of it makes sense. And then when they purposely delete the scene or cut out the scene of one of the soldiers asking, "Hey, why are we here?" Which is an important question, Mm-hmm. Like let's look at World War II, for example. Hey, why are we here? Well, Nazi Germany starting shit with everybody. That's why we're here, and we gotta fuck them up. Simple answer. Hey, why are we in Afghanistan? Mm-hmm. Why are we in Iraq? Weapons of mass destruction. Where are those weapons of mass destruction? Mm-hmm. But George Bush gets to joke and laugh about it. Do you see that video of him with his recent screw up?
People in the chat, did you guys see that? Because I know we talked about it on RBN on Thursday.
I don't think anyone saw that video. I know it's on Twitter. I know that video's on Twitter.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh. Yo, me and Nick, we cracked up over it. I haven't showed it on this channel though, but okay. I'm down to show it. It was hilarious. Let me see.
I think I found something close to. Hang on. Got it.
Oh, you already do? Wow.
Private
okay.
Chat. There we go.
All right. Perfect. All right.
Here we go, folks. Grab your popcorn.
Okay. All right. Let me set this up. Because war criminal extraordinaire and hater of pretzels, George W. Bush.
How dare he hate pretzels?
Yeah. He decided to give a speech basically about Ukraine, right? And he's talking about Vladimir Putin. Oh gosh, I don't even know how to really accurately set this up. Hang on. And he has a Freudian slip. A major Freudian slip. Like this Freudian slip was the Freudian slip of Freudian slips. Like, I can't even express to you guys how much of a Freudian slip this really is. Like, it's such a Freudian slip that you put the definition of it, and it has George W. Bush's face in front of the definition for Freudian slip, because that's how Freudian slippish this was. The Freudian slippishness of it all. I'm telling you, watch. Just watch. Just watch.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq. I mean, of Iraq. Of Iraq. I mean, of Ukraine. Iraq. Anyway.
Oh, everyone's laughing in the background.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, look, dude, Jay. It was nothing but strategery, okay? John Kemper. I'm seeing you in the chat. Strategery. Lee Lewis LaTroy. It was strategery. We got Tai G. Strategery. Ghost Star. Strategery. Terry. It's strategery.
Yeah. Fool me once.
Jenna. It's strategery.
Shame on you. Fool me twice. Fool me
Fool me
just
twice.
do it again.
You can't fool me again. No. But Donald Rumsfeld, this is my favorite one. I hope someday I get to use it. Look, there are known knowns, and then there are known unknowns. But then there are unknown unknowns, okay?
I remember that. Yo, look, here's the thing. On this channel, we clown on war criminals. We clown on.
But it's okay. Ellen DeGeneres did a dance and he recovered. And then Michelle Obama, she makes like she treats him like he's an infant. Probably he is, because like when Trump was being inaugurated, he had a hard time putting on that rain poncho, and she was kind of like looking at him like, "Hey, are you okay? Like putting that on?" He's like, "Yeah, I got
it." Yeah. The sterilization of his record. It's like that. And to quote Loki in Avengers, could your ledger be cleared of that much red? No, it is gushing with blood. That's what it is. And he should have absolutely no respite, no full, comfortable night's sleep, knowing that he has contributed to the mass murder of over 2 million Iraqi people. Not only them, but putting in harm's way the soldiers and the service members that have actually went there, and a lot of whom only went into the military because they were promised housing, healthcare, and education, and then they end up dying or losing limbs or having their minds tormented by the very actions that he sent them there to do. And I can say this comfortably because, I've spoken to many veterans, including yourself. And it's still in his mind.
No, it still is. Guilty conscience. Speaking of which, there was this documentary series I saw about Ronald Reagan. This is way before I got involved with YouTube or politics or anything else. This is when I was still in college, right? Got out of the Marine Corps, but I was watching this documentary on YouTube. That's what I used to do sometimes if I had some free time, right? And I forget, it was getting to the end of the series where Reagan was now battling with Alzheimer's, right? And it was starting to get really, really bad, right? And for me, Alzheimer's hits home because my great-grandma died from it, my grandmother, and my uncle was getting early onset dementia, but he died of a heart attack, but it was slowly becoming a thing. It was something that has me a little concerned because is that going to happen to me? Because it happened to my great-grandma, my grandma, my uncle, Bernard, which is my grandpa's brother, and it's something that weighs on my mind. But there was a scene where Reagan walked out the house and he had something in his hand, and his family members or somebody close to him came by to get him back inside, but his hand was wet. He was holding something, and it was something that he took from the fishbowl, and it was the White House, and he had his hand on it, and they asked him, I'm probably going to get the quote wrong, but they asked him, why did you have this? He says, I did some things in here, and I don't know what I did.
What do you say? He did what?
He was pointing at the White House saying, I did some things in here, and I don't know what I did. That guilty conscience, that conscience of, there was Reagan who, again, because Bush is bringing up Iraq. It's still on his mind. And all this stuff does eventually follow up with these lawmakers. Take, for example, Barack Obama. He was joking about doing drone strikes when he was still president. Hey, I have, when he was talking about protecting Sasha Mali. Hey, I got this drone list. Don't make me use it. Or is it at?
I'm gonna put something out there, and because a lot of times people, especially in the corporate media, they'll talk about, oh, well, look at how presidents, how much being in the White House ages them because of all the hard, the tough decisions that they have to make and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't age them because of tough decisions. It ages them because of the atrocities they had to commit in order to stay in that position.
Mm-hmm.
You literally, because
you give up your humanity.
That went around about a soldier that I think fought in World War One, and they showed him right before he went into war, and they showed him when he came back, and it aged him like 25, 30 years because he had to commit atrocities. He had to see things that he shouldn't have saw as a human being. And so what did they have to see or do in order to make them turn out that way? It is because of the atrocities that they did. If you look at people who try to do the best they can to help people, to make people's lives better, they tend to age pretty well. But people who do horrible shit, you see how decrepit they look after a couple years. And the thing is that this is what happens with the presidents. They do some horrible things. And the thing is that the mainstream corporate media will be like, oh, well, look, they just had to make the tough decisions. It wasn't tough decisions in the betterment of the world.
They could have been different.
Huh?
They could have been different. They could have made different decisions, but they chose not to because they got the military-industrial complex in the background. They got the lobby groups. They got Wall Street. At no point in time could Obama or Bush or anyone else actually do the right thing because, again, it's not part of the plan. You know, the whole world is stuck in this mindset that we have to have absolute trust with these leaders. Mm-hmm. We have a sick system that is designed to keep us oppressed, keep us on our knees, and never achieve to what our full potential truly is. And these lawmakers like Bush, like Trump, like Obama, like Clinton, like all of them, they think they can keep on getting away with it. We don't owe these politicians a goddamn thing. We don't owe them any favors. We don't owe them any applause. We should not even show up to these events. But yet there are people in America that have been thoroughly brainwashed into thinking, I'm with Team Red, I'm with Team Blue. Mm-hmm. But these politicians are like abusive partners. They don't like us. They don't respect us. They don't think about us. And think about it. That's what an abusive partner does. Mm-hmm. They're with you, but honestly, they'll drop you. Mm-hmm. They don't respect you because if they respected you, they would do things to help you, be a sign of support, and then liking us too. The only reason why they ask us to vote is because we're the only thing that they got, that they quote unquote need to make the system legit. Don't waste your vote on these politicians. I'm gonna take a quote from Daniel here. Here's the best way to describe the Democratic and Republican Party. The Republican Party is the abusive, alcoholic father that will beat you. The Democratic Party is the pill-popping mom that abuses you psychologically. That's the truth about both parties. And the sooner Americans realize that, the better off we'll be. And you know what? If people like David Sirota or Jan Perlman or anyone else, Jordan Sheridan, want to say, oh, we got to vote Democrat, people are being bitter, blinders, earmuffs, all that kind of stuff. No. Give me a reason why I should support this, the Democrats. They could have held Bush accountable for his war crimes. They could have held Bush accountable for the crimes he committed. Where were they at? Nowhere. Obama's policy, we move forward. Obama led us from 2 wars to 7. Where's the accountability? And then there's Bernie Sanders, too, who's supposed to be, I guess the guy who's supposed to lead in the change. Yeah. Bows out and not once, but twice lets the Democratic Party screw him over. I was there in Philly. I saw what happened to his delegates, to his volunteers, how people were being assaulted, attacked. We don't owe the Democrats a goddamn thing. And I know that everyone's going to say, well, then the GOP is going to win. No. You don't owe the GOP. That's the thing to Republican voters. You don't owe a goddamn thing to the Republican Party either. They don't like you. They'll say things you want to hear. But at the end of the day, you're not their number one constituent. Their number one constituents are Wall Street executives, hedge fund managers, big banks, corporations, the top 1%. You, the average voter, will never have a seat at the table. And the fact that there are many voters that think that, oh, yeah, my party will help me out. My senator, I'm so proud of my senator. No, you shouldn't be. No, you shouldn't be.
I mean, I people need to ask themselves, why are people like David Sirota asking you to reward bad behavior?
Yeah. I also want to acknowledge something from John Kemper. I've seen you in our live stream chats too. We got homelessness all over Chicago, kid. That I help. Got no money for politicians. Good. Don't waste your money on politicians. Help out the poor. Help out the struggling. That's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to see more of. I want to see more citizen journalists like yourself, JB. I want to see more people stepping up. Don't attach your movements to anything in Washington, D.C. Don't attach your movements or organizations to any Democratic or Republican lawmaker. They will try to find a way to co-opt it, or either that, try to find a way to derail it. We're not going to do it anymore. That's what people need to realize.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
There we go.
And even from, all right, I will put this in a financial way. Voting for Democrats, as we've seen, has been a terrible investment. We have not seen any returns. A better return on your investment is to actually either do direct action and mutual aid for the people. Because at least somebody gets fed, somebody gets housed, somebody gets helped in some substantive way. If it can't be through people in Washington, then let it be through us. Because the thing is that we've been suffering all this time. And so if you want a better ROI, then do what people like John Kemper is doing. Do what people like Rome is doing. Do what people like CJ is doing. Do what people like Afeni is doing. Do things like what Josana is doing. Do these things because it means that it will actually be an investment towards helping humanity, because guess what? It's all circular. And I hate to sound like Mufasa is the great circle of life, but that's what it is. Because if you help one, it's a circular thing. And so because look at what their priorities are through the actions. People are literally sick and tired of being sick and tired. People are dying. And if we're going to sit here and go, well, they're our best hope. They're saying that they are your best hope. But are they proving that through their actions? And please do not give me the Republicans, because guess what? There have been many times where the Republicans had no power, allegedly. And so they could have actually did something. But they didn't, because that means that they didn't want to. Because they actually are working in tandem with them. They all have to say, like, look, why am I going to go to a business that is completely, like, let's say I go to a burger joint, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know this
delicious burger joint
has horrible business. Business going to the burger joint, right? And then you go to the counter, and the person in the red uniform treats you like shit. So you go over to the other side of the counter to the person with the blue uniform, and then they say that, you know, all the right things, but then you get your order and it's still shit. Why are you still going to the business? Look, I'm telling you this right now. Why? You're in Chicago. Why am I going to sit there and cheer for Pippen, but then I'm pissed off at Jordan when you're on the same team?
Oh, you hurt my heart there. You hurt my heart. I tell you what, you kind of hurt my heart.
Why are you cheering? Like, it's like
you brought the analogy of the old Chicago Bulls in my heart again.
The thing is that they're on the same team. Like, are you kidding me right now?
I know, but you made a great point. But when you brought up Pimpin, sorry, I said Pimpin. I'm sorry. Scottie Pippen. I don't know why I said Pimpin. I'm so sorry. Scottie Pippen. I apologize. I did it. I stuttered right there. My fault. And you brought up Jordan. You brought up the classic Chicago Bulls team. And I just remembered. I remember that era, how great it was. It was a great time to be in Chicago. It's a good time to be a Bulls fan. Great time. Same team, but no. If you're rooting for one team, you're rooting for them all. But the thing is, when you're participating in a two-party system, you're also supporting your opponents, the Democrats or Republicans.
Okay.
When you vote Team Red or Team Blue, you're still participating in the same neoliberal team.
Okay, line in the sand. I'm gonna reverse things. Y'all gonna hate, some people are gonna hate me for this, but it is what it is. A vote from a Democrat is a vote for a Republican.
A vote for a Republican is a vote for a Democrat.
Let's turn it around.
Yeah.
Turn around.
So look, I'll support third parties. I'll support independents. I'll support
me too.
ballot initiatives. But when it comes time to supporting a Democratic lawmaker, Republican lawmaker, what's the point? I know that none of them will fight for us. They're not going to fight for anything at all. And Annan User says DNC equals GOP equals fascist. Can argue with that?
I mean, look who they fought for. They fought for and chose Joe Biden. Look at really when they had one of the last debates on the Democratic primaries, and they said that the person with the most votes, at the end of the primary, should they go on to be the nominee? And everybody except for Bernie was like, yeah, I don't think that should happen. Why? Because they don't believe in democracy. They never have. I actually want to go for people who actually believe in democracy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like the Democratic Party is no more democratic than the Federal Express is the federal government. It's just the name slapped on it. That's all it really is. And might I remind you that the Democratic Party is a private organization, meaning that they are not a bureaucratic governmental institution, which means that they do not have to take a say from you or me. That being said, that means that whatever you choose goes in the trash bin, because they go into a back room, and they literally said this in court. They said this openly in court. We can go into a back room and choose whoever we want. And that's what they do. Mm-hmm. So why am I going to subscribe to a party that is anti-democratic? Why am I going to subscribe to a party that literally chose a segregationist, rapist, racist, warmongering, war criminal that's the exact same type as Trump? There was absolutely no harm reduction done. None. We were told every single time, oh, it's harm reduction, harm reduction, harm reduction. Who you want to fight with? You want to fight with Trump, or do you want to fight with Biden? A harm reduction, harm reduction. And guess what? As soon as Joe Biden came into power, guess what happened? Everybody went.
No. First, Jay, you got it wrong. As soon as Joe Biden got into office, crunch time. No.
Yeah.
Then they
no. They got like Cookie Monster up in that mug, and they were like, oh, we're just gonna go to brunch.
We're going to go to brunch, and then they fell asleep. So the kids are still in cages. We still got, again, the most incarcerated population in the free world. We got money for war. We're not investing into our infrastructure. Money in politics is running rampant. No Medicare for all, no UBI, no Federal Jobs Guarantee Act, no student debt forgiveness, no affordable college. But yet you have bread tubers out there saying, oh, Democrats, we got to help out the Democrats because the Democrats are here to help us. No, they're not.
No.
What's AOC doing right now? AOC right now is whining about the fact that New York State Democrats redistricted her state, right? You surprised about that, AOC? Let me show you Chicago's city map, what our aldermen did to our city. It's like they literally hired somebody with schizophrenia to make the goddamn districts in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, let me ask you this: how has your life improved because of the Democratic Party?
Not much. I mean, they still owe us $2,000, and no, that $1,400 check don't count. No. In 2000, they said they were going to give us a $2,000 check. What they say? Oh, $600 is the down payment. Bullshit. I'll take your $1,400, but you promised me $2,000, and with interest. Where's the money, Democrats? Give me the money. Where's the $2,000 stimulus check? Where's it at?
And please don't give me that BS about gay marriage, because as a gay man, I can talk about this. Please don't give me that BS about gay marriage. Oh, we legalized gay marriage. No. It was decided by the Supreme Court, just like Roe v. Wade was, and it wasn't codified into law. So guess what? Your marriage rights can be stripped away, just like they're trying to do with women's autonomy.
Yep. And on top of that, too, what Democrats, the reason why they never codified Roe v. Wade, and also the reason why they'll never even do anything to protect the LGBTQ community, even if anything is taken care of in the courts, like let's say the Supreme Court makes further decision to protect LGBTQIA rights. So apologies if I'm missing any acronyms in there, but the reason why Democrats won't do it is because the key thing that matters the most to them: fundraising. They always say, hey, you got to make sure you support Democrats so that we can protect women's reproductive rights. You got to help out Democrats so we can help out the LGBTQIA community. You got to help out Democrats so we can protect minority communities. But no,
they don't.
The Democrats have had numerous opportunities to codify Roe v. Wade, and they could have done it under Carter. They could have done it under Bill Clinton. They could have done it under Obama. And they sure as hell could have done it under Biden. What was the excuse? Nothing. Hell, Obama had a goddamn supermajority in 2008 in the Democratic. He had a solid Democratic Senate and a solid Democratic House. There's no excuse that he should not have, or that administration could not have done it. But what they did was rely on the tactic of, oh, we got blue dog Democrats, and oh, here comes the Tea Party Republicans. Oh, what can we do? Nothing.
But also let's look at this. You have the liberal bastion, California. They couldn't even pass single payer health care. They wouldn't.
Well, that's because those state politicians were bought off, and eventually, and they were all called out for it too.
Yeah, I mean, if they're susceptible, if they allow themselves that easily to be susceptible to big money, why are we giving them? Why are we giving them power?
Well, because how else is Ukraine going to get $40 billion, JB? JB, look, Ukraine needs $40 billion. Do not debate this. What are we going to use $40 billion for here in America? What are we going to do that for?
In homelessness.
Well, that's one.
Provide. Try to help provide universal pre-K to, a bunch of toddlers. There's a few things that we can think of to do with $40 billion.
We can do student debt, do something about student debt, fund our public schools, invest into our infrastructure. At the bare minimum, there's a lot we can do. There's a lot we can do.
I mean, maybe give a few extra dollars to those of us that are disabled, who are on disability, because we're near poverty. I mean, we could have did that. You probably could have used some of that money to provide more funding to Section 8 so that it won't be a 5+ year waiting list, which they're not taking any more applications for people like me. So therefore, I have to be stuck with paying 98% of my entire disability check on rent. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe, they can also, backstop the funding on that. Or maybe they can actually put more funding into the IRS so that they can actually go after the people who are hoarding wealth, and they can, do audits on the very rich instead of them forcing themselves to do audits on people who have no money. Excuse me.
Hey, did you catch my cough? Allergies over there?
No, I'm just allergic to the bullshit from both parties.
There you go.
Yeah, that's just a reaction. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, and I get it. There are a lot of people who say, well, there's no, they don't have, there's some third parties don't have ballot access. in some of these areas in order to truly fight against the party. So they feel like they don't have a choice but to run, right? And my question is, if that's the case, number one, you're going to lose. You just are, because the Democratic Party just won't allow you in. But even if you somehow get in, why aren't you changing your party affiliation once you get into office?
Well, it's because all these politicians are bought off. Take for example, that guy Fetterman, right? Who won
Fetterman,
Fetterman. You know, the guy who won in Pennsylvania. So you know, on the one hand, there's a lot of hype around him where he's the quote unquote Bernie 2.0, which I call into question. I know Sabrina did a great takedown and analysis of him, especially with some of the scandals that are surrounding that guy. Most notably, let's not forget that in 2016, he was also way on board for cheerleading for Hillary Rodham Clinton. And we see Jenna Colby says, OMG, don't get me started on Fetterman. You know what? Let's talk about Fetterman, Bernie 2.0. Jay, how do you feel about Fetterman?
I'm just learning about him. So I know he was the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania.
That is true, yes.
And allegedly and this is from after watching Savvy's program, that he said outright that he's not progressive. So if he doesn't even want to accept that framing of his policy, then then it lends credence that he's willing to do things that are really considered the norm with the Democratic Party. And then on top of it, he also is, he sounds like he might be pro-Israel, but it's like, okay, so what about the Palestinian people? So it's just
no, it's all good. You're perfectly right. And hold on, I think we're seeing a little bit more from the chat because people are adding in their 2 cents about Fetterman as well. Let's see. Hold on, we're seeing a couple people in here talking about it. We got Jenna Colby says, Savvy Sabs thoroughly unpacked the nonsense going around in Pennsylvania. Again, shout out to Savvy Sabs. And sees, I'm sending you a link, Kit Cabello. Please watch it. I watched a little bit of it, and again, it's a perfect analysis. But here's the thing, now that he made it past the primary, how much you want to bet all these things that he did say that made him sound like a Bernie 2.0? He'll flip flop on it right away. And either that, you're going to see a huge influx of former Democratic donors donating to the Republican candidates. Because remember, to quote Joe Scarborough before, when he had to stop his friend from saying, "Hey, I'd rather vote for Trump than Bernie," and it was like, "Whoa, you don't say that out loud."
Yeah, I mean, because it's true. Because they're all right. They're all on the right, and I'm not saying as as far as what just any normal like working class person is. They are all pro-authoritarian and friendly to the corporations. So they just do not. They're anti. They have class solidarity among themselves. That's ultimately what it's about. Like there's no sympathy for those of us here who are either working class or the poor class, because nobody seems to talk about the poor. Everybody's like, because, and you know what? I'm gonna get into a rant right now. But you know why they don't talk about the poor? Because they think that being a poor person is a moral failing. So therefore, they think that we do not need advocacy. We do not need a help because it's our fault. Even though the system is designed to keep people like us in this position, even though it is designed to make people poor and impoverished, so that we're always behind that 8 ball, so that we're always the laborers for extremely cheap labor for these capitalists. That's what it is. And so you even have people who consider themselves progressive who barely ever talk about the poor class. They'll talk about working class, which is fine because people need to talk about working class. But the thing is that a lot of people who are workers, you're poor. And you know what? Stop being embarrassed that you're poor because it's not your fault. The embarrassment of being poor is coupled with feeling like you did something wrong. You didn't really do anything wrong. Are you working constantly? Yes. Okay. You're not lazy. Are you doing the best that you can with what you have? Yeah. Guess what? You have to let people know that you're poor and it's not your fault. Because the thing is that if we truly had a system that actually had a floor that actually provided for the material needs of all of its citizens, you would not have to worry about this. And it's not because you lacked ambition. It's not because they're smarter than you. It's not any of that. It's because the system is rigged. And people need to get that through their heads. And people can go, oh, but that's a victim mentality. You know what? Are you going to say that to somebody who is a victim of sexual assault? Or you have the victim mentality because this person decided to do what they did to you. Are you going to say that to the people who were victims in Buffalo about being shot? Oh, you're displaying the victim mentality. The thing is why are we blaming victims? This country has a very strong history of doing that. They do it to us as Black people. They did it to the indigenous people. They're doing it to poor people. They do it to women, especially when they experience sexual assault. There's a lot of victim blaming in this country.
Well, because it goes all the way back towards the Puritans who came to the United States. That Puritan logic that is here. Now, here's the thing. Again, history reminder to everyone who doesn't know about the Puritans. The Puritans are those fantastic bastards called the Pilgrims. Now, U.S. propaganda, old history, stuff that we learned in elementary school said the Pilgrims were escaping from persecution. That's not what happened. It's not what happened, right? The Puritans were very strict, and they managed to get their magnum opus when they defeated Charles I in the English Civil War. Because Charles I, he was abusing his powers, disbanded Parliament, Puritans took over. But when they took over, they made a lot of things not fun anymore. Alcohol, prostitution was illegal. They were against, William Shakespeare. All right, that was fun for people back in the old days. You know, I mean, they didn't have what we have here, technology and all this other. Like you couldn't laugh, you couldn't be smiling. They even canceled Christmas. You had these Puritans, which were a religious faction of Christianity, basically canceled Christmas before canceling Christmas became a subject on Fox News. And, eventually people got tired of their shit. And they told them to get the fuck out. I'm tired of your shit. No. That's not persecution. What it was you need to get the fuck out of here. You and all your fantastic friends. I mean, look at the culture around the Puritans, the quote-unquote pilgrims. Like, guys, here's the thing. Like, what led to the witch burnings is because you had insecure men who got their boners around other women, right? And they were like, she's a witch. She put a spell on me. Like, dude, you just got a fucking hard on, you fucking moron. Or either that. Maybe they had attraction to maybe another gender that wasn't a woman. They didn't know, so they had to blame a woman because she was a witch. It's like, come on, get the fuck out of here.
It's like, dude, instead of burning women at the stake, you could have just took some coconut oil in your right hand and you could have took care of it yourself. Like, come on, bro. Like,
see,
why
it was a
are you
sin.
burning women at the stake because they rejected you? Like,
Yep.
come on. Like, and that's the thing. The incels of yesteryear. That's basically what it sounds like. Like,
Yep.
oh my God, they won't sleep with me because I'm creepy and I'm a guy. And it's like, yeah, they're not interested in you. Get over it, bro.
Just get over yourself. First of all, and again, the victim mentality is if you like there was no such thing as innocence in the puritanical mindset. With the Pilgrims, you know, the Puritans were not people who believed that there were innocent victims. If something happened to you, it was probably your fault and it was God's will and you must be punished. And so, you know, just by the way, the Puritans, excuse me, the Puritans were such royal fuck ups. They had no idea how to take care of the land. They had no idea how to live in the land. And they abused their relationships with the native tribes that were around them. And eventually it led even to which would eventually become a continuous U.S. policy, is the genocide of the Native American people. This puritanical logic is still in our culture today. And Eric T. Red says, she turned me into a newt. No, what it was you got rejected by her and you felt like a newt.
Yeah. And apparently they didn't like the indigenous people, especially because, you know, women had autonomy and women and these cultures were deeply maternal, you know, as far as their cultures are concerned. So therefore they didn't like that because they were like, women are equal to men in this culture. We can't have that. It's like, come on.
Yeah, no, it was a whole new world and they weren't really prepared for it. And again, it's whenever I hear people talk about the Pilgrims, or I still hear that old mythos of, oh, the Pilgrims were great pioneers and they were struggling and they were escaping persecution. No, there's a difference between persecution and being told, get the fuck out of here. Get your shit. Get out. Don't ever say anything nice about me. I won't even want to talk to you. Like, the Puritans were the people that everyone got tired of. And that's why I kind of I like King Charles II. He was known as the Merry Monarch. He got, because, you know, that was the son of King Charles I. You know, he sees his dad get his head chopped off. You know, so he had a drinking womanizing problem. You know, and he wasn't no saint either. But he returned back Christmas. He was like, nah, hey, look, I might be a monarch, but goddamn, we're getting Christmas back here again.
Then, oh my gosh. Yeah, man. I mean, you know, but there's so much that, you know, to talk about on this. But also, God, fuck colonizers. So
excuse me for a second.
Oh, sure.
No, sorry about that. I blew my nose.
No, you're good. Chicago.
Yes, my hometown.
Yeah. I wanted to also make sure I got to this on the stream. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Because we talked about this before the show, and this kind of was just a lot of BS. So, let me enlarge this just so that everybody can see it more accurately. Okay. This is from ABC7. It says Chicago City Council Committee approves ordinance on changes to curfew for minors. So from what I read so far is that there was a shooting in Millennium Park. And so Mayor Lightfoot decided to put from what it looks like, a permanent curfew for minors. I'll just read the first part. It says Mayor Lori Lightfoot's plan to extend the citywide curfew for minors was approved by the Chicago City Council's Public Safety Committee Friday, but not without sharp criticism. Mayor Lightfoot issued an executive order to change the curfew to minors, moving it from 11 p.m. to 10 p.m. The mayor's curfew for minors 12 years of age and older prohibits them from remaining in any public place or the premises of any establishment within the city between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. on all 7 days of the week. Kit, you talked about this on Chicago Corner. Why is this a problem?
Okay, so first, I want to explain the issue here in Chicago, especially to our viewing audience, to your viewing audience. And hopefully this will be also shared with the Greater Revolutionary Blackout Network channel and everyone else. When Chicago was brought up, the Fox News propaganda, and I'm going to mention Fox News because they always say us, that we're, yes, there are issues with crime here, but they always say that Chicago is this communist socialist utopia, which it isn't. It's corporatist through and through. You don't even have to register with the Democrats to running for office here because the Democrats have such a solid control over the city. This city is extremely hyper-segregated. This city is so hyper-segregated that there are communities within communities. Certain areas are well-funded, other areas are screwed over. Most notably, the South and West Side neighborhoods of Chicago. Now, Chicago has a long, sad history of corruption and mayors that have turned a blind eye to the issues that are impacting all the young people here in the city for generations upon generations. This is a continuing policy of failure by the Lightfoot administration by enacting this curfew. Now, look, number one, we were all children once. We were all kids once. Not a lot of us follow these curfew laws. It's something that's being put in place to, I guess, add more draconian power to this mayor or her ego. But as Lightfoot has shown, she's a thin-skinned individual that cannot take criticism. She has failed to follow through with any of her campaign promises, and she's made enemies out of everyone that had once supported her first campaign run. And I am fearing at the fact that if she gets reelected, she will bring a wrath of vengeance upon anyone that dare give criticism towards her because she is just that thin-skinned. She is a clown. She is a hypocrite through and through. Now, this curfew that's happening, it's prohibiting young people to enjoy the green spaces and the other areas in the downtown Chicagoland area. There's a lack of investment in the South and West Side neighborhoods of Chicago. I want to name this book for everyone to check out. It's called Chicago is Not Broke. It's written by Tom Tresser, Tomtresser. It's called Chicago is Not Broke. It will explain about the TIF funds. These TIF funds can be used to fund school programs, open up community centers, fund the green spaces. A lot of these young people, especially with the tragic incident that took place in Millennium Park, have nowhere to go. There are no after-school programs. There are no community centers. There's no safe parks. There's a lack of investment. But according to Biden, with the remnants of the COVID relief money, he's telling mayors all across the country, including in Chicago, spend the rest of it on the police. But that's not going to work. The Slang teen, his name was Shondell Holiday. His dream was to open up a music studio. I can relate to this young man. I know what it's like to have a dream, to open up a studio, to have a YouTube show, to do something. It's a difficult task. But do you want to know what his biggest fear was? Not that he'd fail. Not that he'd go bankrupt. He feared he wouldn't live to 21. He feared he wouldn't live to be 21 years old. Now, I can't even think about what would even cause this mentality to have what he has seen firsthand on the South and West Side neighborhoods of Chicago. But I want that to be embedded in people's minds. He's a young man. In fact, here, let me go ahead and share this article with you, just so that you can see who he was, so that your audience can see who he is. Because he has a name, and he's somebody important.
Okay.
Because there's more men and women like him in this. And I believe that Chicago is filled with good people. He dreamed about opening up a studio. But the thing is, even opening up a studio, you got to learn how to handle things with business, music, technology, editing equipment, and so much more. You would think that the mayor and the city council would use the TIF funds to invest in school programs in the southwest side neighborhoods of Chicago. Maybe open up community centers. But no, we're not doing that. We're investing more into police, more into surveillance. And the thing is, with this curfew, it'll be another way in which, again, you can see a situation where young people, predominantly African American and Latino, will be targeted. It could lead to more scenes of police brutality, lack of accountability, and overzealousness on the police part. There is corruption in Chicago politics and with the Chicago Police Department. And yes, there are a handful of some good politicians here in Chicago, to be fair, but they're few and far between. And yes, there are good Chicago police officers too, few and far between. But the problem is the environment that we are living in is causing so much toxicity that there's a lack of breathable air for the good people to actually do anything. And the thing is, Lightfoot enacting this draconian policy of harsher laws, curfews, it solves nothing. In fact, all it is putting a Band-Aid on a festering wound.
Wow.
Now, again, that's his face. That's who he is. That's and again, take a good look at him. There's more young men like him, more young women like him, and dare I say it, and I apologize in advance, but I gotta wonder. You know, I hope this doesn't make people too upset, but how many of these young people truly have given up the fact or are resigned to the fact that, I might not make it to 21. I hope I can make it to 21. Is that the goal mark? If I can make it to 21? That was his fear, that I won't make it to 21. What has he seen? How has the city failed him? It's one thing for the city and Lightfoot to get on her goddamn podium and tell people it's the parents' fault. But when we have a city government that's denying funds to people, that is continuing on with the policy of hyper segregation in this city, it's a bigger issue. It's more than just parents. It's more than just the neighborhoods. It's the fact that the city government continues this on. Let's talk about what's happening on the south and west side neighborhoods of Chicago. Let's talk about the public schools that were shut down by Mayor Rahm Emanuel. Let's talk about the mental health facilities, half of them that were shut down by Mayor Rahm Emanuel, that are still shut down. Let's talk about the fact that there's lead in Chicago's drinking water. To which, hey, JB, if you ever come to Chicago, guess what you can do? You know what? I'll take you there to it. You can buy a can of Chicago. That's right. Our city government is spending money on canned water from Chicago, and it's called Chicago. You get to drink lead water from Chicago in a can, and it's called Chicago. That's what our city government's wasting its money on. The city government's not going to invest in people like Shondell Holiday. They're not going to do it, but they're going to invest it on, of course, Chicago. Buy a can of Chicago. Oh, the city government will gladly give contracts to large real estate developers that will gentrify neighborhoods, or either that, make sure that the schools get shut down, so again, causes the properties to all be devalued. Oh, I nearly forgot too. Let's talk about industrial racism, environmental racism, where you have these industrial facilities coming in there polluting the air, water, soil, and communities.
Yeah.
You don't see that happening on the north side. And to be very clear, there's a lot of north siders that don't like what's happening on the south and west side neighborhoods with these industrial facilities polluting these communities, because some of these industrial facilities are by some of the parks, by the schools. Some of them are operating without permits. That's what's happening in my city. And yet, it wasn't too long ago where Joe Biden was here with a Democratic fundraiser. And of course, Chicago is potentially on a list of cities to host the next convention in 2024. Do you want to know how much it costs to sit down at that little fundraiser for Biden and his fantastic friends in the Democratic Party? If you have a hip, cool $350,000, you can go there. $350,000 just to go there, hear these jagoff politicians talk. Now, Lightfoot can get on her podium and talk. When, hey, is she going to bring up the fact that there are activists and organizers that want to reopen these shut down public schools? Turn them into community centers. I don't know. Have programs that teach young people to get involved in media, music, entertainment. Teach young people to actually, inspire, maybe look past the age of 21. No, she won't do that. No, curfew, harsher laws, more money for police. I got a hammer in my hand and everything's a goddamn nail. That's Lightfoot. That's Mayor Lori Lightfoot. First black mayor of the city of Chicago, part of the LGBTQ community. That's Mayor Lori Lightfoot. And she's enacting neoliberalism, neoliberal policies. Everyone in the city should be demanding her resignation.
Wow. There is a point that I also wanted to touch on. The alderman said this isn't even a slap on the wrist. We're turning Chicago police into taxi drivers, possibly to take these kids home, taking manpower off the streets. I mean, even from a perspective, sorry,
that's all right.
But even from that perspective of what the police duties are, you're literally enlarging the duty of police, which I want to make them obsolete. And so you're doing this, and then the alderman also continues, says there's actually significant empirical evidence that states lowering curfew times actually has the opposite effect of decreasing crime. And one thing that people like Lori Lightfoot don't understand, or either that or just willful ignorance, is that even just from, okay, I'm going to give an example from, my perspective. So I have a 17-year-old nephew that works, right? He doesn't typically clock out of work until midnight.
Jesus Christ.
Which means by the time he gets home, it's 1:45 a.m. So that being the case, you mean to tell me that if he's coming home from work, then police are going to stop and accost him, and at best, bring him home in a squad car? And that's the least likely situation. Most likely, they're going to accost him and think he's doing something wrong. And he may end up in jail, or he may end up dead. Because he's not a short teenager. And typically, if you got a little extra melanin in your skin, instead of being considered a boy, you're considered a grown man, even if you're not an adult. So this is going to be a very slippery slope, and you're going to see a lot more kids dying at the hands of police because they're automatically going to assume that they're up to no good because they're out past the curfew. Number one.
JB, I sent you another link too because you talked about police shooting. This happened just a few days ago too. A 13-year-old man was shot. Okay. They're shooting an unarmed 13-year-old boy. This was in Chicago. Video shows officers chase a teenager who ran from a car, believed he to be used carjacking before one officer shoots and critically wounds him. It happened at 10:30 p.m. Wednesday at 800 block of North Cicero Avenue, Chicago. Police officers stopped the driver of a stolen car they suspected that had been involved in an Oak Park carjacking. The boy who had been in the car got out and ran away as several officers followed. One officer shot him, officials said. The driver of the car drove off and was later found abandoned in Garfield Park. The 13-year-old boy was hospitalized in serious condition. The video footage obtained by Chicago Media Takeout appears to show the boy running from at least 5 officers through a gas station. An officer shoots him, then the boy collapses. Brown said that the boy turns toward the police before the officer shot him, but it's unclear in the video whether the teenager turns to face off the officers before being shot. Now, I watched the video. You can watch it too if you wish. But he got shot. That's what happened. And there's the graphic video down
there. Oh boy.
Now the thing is, also it was brought up in the live stream chat too. Look, I forget who said it, but in the live stream chat earlier it was mentioned sometimes the homes are not safe places either, and that's why we need these community centers. Because maybe that's an area where these young people can actually talk to somebody that will help them too. You know? I mean, look, we got to start investing in the future. And I understand that no home is perfect. I get that. But if we don't start investing in community centers and investing in school programs, how many more other individuals like Sundell Holiday are we going to see? Because, I mean, think about it. How many of these young people in Chicago right now, as I speak, their fear is, can I make it at 21? That 13-year-old boy was shot. What's his home life like? What does he want to do when he grows up?
Look, if we're going to talk about investing so that things like this don't happen again, there are people who grew up like me who they had a single parent. They didn't make a living wage. They had to work long hours. Let me take this down really quick. And so because of that, we didn't get to spend as much time with our parents because we'd like to, because they had to work long hours, because they just weren't making enough to make the ends meet. So because of that, then we didn't have our parents around enough. So from a class analysis, number one, raising to a thriving wage would help with that, number one. Number two, what would help with it is having a better education system. Number three is not, jailing a lot of people, particularly a lot of us, those of us who are black and brown, and placing us in prison for prison labor, for prison slavery labor. And then next thing you know, diminishing the parents that we have in our families. So therefore, these kids grow up in single parent homes more. We could also reinvest money into the school system so that we actually have well-funded schools, as well as after-school programs and different types of activities for kids. I mean, we also could divest from the police and then take this money to reinvest into these neighborhoods so that these kids can actually have more of a means to do what they need to do. And then we also can replace police with an actual public safety, apparatus that if a kid jumps out of the car from carjacking and he's running unarmed, then he won't get shot. He'll just get his ear pulled and taken back to, and reprimanded and taught, that what he did was wrong. And we can apply, restorative justice so that that kid not only feels bad for what they did, but they can also do some type of service that shows them that they shouldn't have done that. But even then, what got to that kid to cop that car in the first place in order to do that? What type of life did he have before that in order to push him into that direction? See, here's the funny thing that really irks me, that really gets me mad. People always want to treat the symptoms, but they never want to treat the cause, because treating the cause would literally take the money out of the oppressor's hands and puts it back into the people's hands. Ultimately, this is a class issue through and through, and it keeps happening. And so it's a system of control, but when chickens come home to roost, they just want to cut them off instead of actually fixing what's really wrong. Why are so many kids suffering from depression, anxiety, things like this? Maybe because of the system that they're subject to. Why are kids joining gangs that are filled with violence? Because they have no sense of family. Why? Because they're arresting us and putting us in prison, particularly for a lot of nonviolent drug offenses. Or even if they did something violent, what led them to that point of doing that? They don't ask that question because they just think, oh, they're just violent by nature, when really, what put them in the position to be desperate to get to that point? This is something that doesn't get asked. And then when you try to do it, you're making excuses. Making excuses for who? You're not making excuses. You're talking about actual real world solutions. But they don't want to talk about these real world solutions because that means it's just a few $1 million less that a billionaire can have.
You know, I shared a link to the individual. It's called Chicago's Not Broke. I shared it with you in your private chat.
Yeah.
That's so people can. You talk about the cause and addressing the cause.
Yeah.
We have a thing called the TIF funds. It could be used to help out so much here in the city of Chicago. Mm-hmm. So much to help out the struggling families here.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something else I wanted to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
We got John Kemper. John, I just confirmed, like you are from Chicago, right? Because I think he is. I think he's from Chicago. But just confirm that you are from Chicago, because the thing is, like, I mean, here's the thing. You want to talk about the issues of Chicago, and John, if you're from Chicago, just give me a thumbs up, just so I know, because I think he'll back me up on this 100%.
Yeah, John's really good people. I appreciate it that John has, on everything.
Okay, so John is from Chicago, then, I assume, right? He is, or he is.
I think he is. John, can you confirm that for us in the chat?
Yeah.
But
because there's something I want to bring up. Yeah, okay. So he said yes. So
okay, yeah.
JB, if you and Revolutionary Blackout Network, any of you guys ever come here to Chicago, you want to talk about spotting the cause and differences in the city? Start off by Howard. You can do by the Howard Red Line station. You can do this two ways. Take a car from Howard and go all the way to 95th, or get on the Red Line from Howard all the way to 95th. You'll see how drastically fast this city will change. You'll see how fast things change. From the north side, where you got everyone there dancing, you got nice parks, you got there was one store in particular, because I did this one time, where me and a friend, we went from Howard all the way down to 95th. Streets are paved, small business, entrepreneurs succeeding, a grab and go taco, which sounds delicious. Hell, now I made myself hungry for a grab and go taco, right? Mm-hmm. But then as soon as you start going to a certain point, there's a point to where the roads aren't as smooth. The buildings aren't as occupied. Police cars almost at every single corner. It looks like a war zone.
Yep.
You have to see it for yourself, but it'll happen.
Yeah.
And if you're on the Red Line, I think it's Chinatown's last spot where all the white people get off.
Yeah, it's kind of the same here in my neighborhood. I'm kind of like that midpoint between the more middle class, nicer area and just a really super poor area. They're trying to gentrify my area. I think that's why. And so about a 5-minute drive, 5 minutes from me, is the pretty much the most beautiful, opulent, affluent mall in Central Florida, called the Millennium Mall. Ooh. And that mall has Jimmy Choo, Tiffany's, Versace. It has a Lord & Taylor, Neiman Marcus, Macy's, Bloomingdale's, you name it, right? They have an Ethan Allen furniture store in that area. It's gorgeous. The Mercedes-Benz dealership's right over there. You have the Jaguar dealership. I'm not too far from an Aston Martin dealership. Right, it surrounds the hood, surrounds it, and a lot of us, we have to go out and work over there, but then we have to come back and live over here. And look, this neighborhood has gone down. Orange County Sheriff's Office is out here all the time. I'm always hearing a police helicopter overhead. And instead of taking that money and reinvesting into this area or fighting to reinvest in this area, Val Demings.
Hey, Val Demings.
She's a cop, by the way, a super cop, because she was literally the chief of police for Orlando Police Department.
So in other words, she's a cop's cop.
Yeah, she was the top cop.
Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, her husband, Jerry Demings, was at the same time she became chief of police in Orlando. Jerry Demings, her husband, became the Orange County Sheriff, and Orlando is in Orange County. So therefore, you literally had a married couple as the top law enforcement of Central Florida. A married couple. Now, Jerry Demings is now the mayor of Orange County, and she is the representative of the 10th district where I live in Florida, in Orange County, in Orlando. Conflict of interest, anyone?
What can I say? It's a nightmare situation. Oh wow, it's hey,
a couple, right?
But the couple that slays together stays together, right? I mean, I'm sorry you have to go through that. Don't worry, we got our own feudal lords over here in Chicago. We got a guy named Burke, whose family's been in power for 75 years. He got his father's seat. So we perfected feudalism here. John Cameron can back me up on this one. We've got feudalism here. And just because Michael Madigan is no longer Speaker of the House, because he was the longest Speaker of the House in any in American history at any state legislature, you can't tell me that Madigan still isn't pulling strings in the background. And you know what's interesting? Fucking A, I see this, because you know, like how on some of your computers, if you don't have ad block, you see some of those images like for, hey, this thing's helping senior citizens stay younger. Why is it that I saw a face like that looked like his in one of those commercial things? It was so weird. I'm like, that has to be Madigan. That has to be fucking
Madigan. Wow. Yeah. God, I'm telling you right now, man. Yeah. And DeSantis just made it illegal to do protests on public streets in residential neighborhoods. And he also is trying. DeSantis is so anti-free speech.
He is not for free speech.
He is anti-free speech. He is a censorship goon. Like nobody's business. Can't stand the man. So yeah, there's so much going on from Chicago to Florida, from Baltimore to Washington State. Like there is so much going on. And before we go, I have to talk to you about something. I don't know how to do this. This is tough. This is going to be a tough one. But the pizza wars, man. I mean, you and Fiorella.
Fiorella is about the wonderful, outstanding, and compassionate Fiorella. I get it. But here's the thing. I know what she has said. Here's what I have to say to Fee. Is it a bridge too far to believe in peace? Is it a bridge too far to have understanding? Yes, New York City has its infamous pizza. Yes, it's there. But Chicago has 4 styles. We're there bringing all this flavor and uniqueness. And the thing is, it's time to end this conflict, this destructive conflict. No longer should there be a need for showing what city is better than the other. Chicago knows it brings many options because it believes in democracy and, more importantly, freedom. And after all, freedom is freedom. So, Fee, if you believe in diplomacy and peace, if you are truly an advocate for peace, you will see things from my perspective and sign the pizza accords and join me at long last in realizing that it doesn't matter which flavors are better, which city stands out the best. It's all about everyone sitting down and enjoying a meal and having a glass of wine together and realizing that peace is fundamental. Fee, don't be a hater, be a participator. Thought I was gonna go petty. I go for democracy and diplomacy there.
Oh my God. Oh, this is
and people can tell Fee I said this too.
Oh my gosh. Look.
John Smith, that is violence. You said that Chicago pizza's casserole. Are you talking about our deep dish pizza? Are you talking about our pot pie pizza? Are you talking about our frying pan pizza? Are you talking about our thin crust pizza? You know, our tavern style? We come out with 4 different combos. 4 different combos. Yeah.
Oh
there
my
you go.
gosh. I just look, I'm just there for the competition so that
what did Fiorella say? What did Fiorella say? That is what did she say?
I don't want to start a Twitter war.
What did she say? What did she say?
I can't.
What did she say?
I can't.
What did she say? Fee. What did Fee say? Because you remember, look, I come here for peace, but I want to hear what her perspective.
I know, that's why I can't tell. I can't tell you. She basically alluded to how she disagrees with you. There's an ideological disagreement.
Something
that she thinks that New York style pizza is the only pizza that is the best pizza ever. I personally, I know you guys are going to see me as a fence rider, but I would like to sit at a table on either side. You and her place a slice before me, and I just taste and see which one I like. And if I just say, you know what, it's a tie, please don't come after me on that one.
You know what, Fiorella? Okay, here's the thing. You can have a single mindset ideology, but why have a single mindset ideology when you can see things in a bigger, broader perspective? There are points of views and views that are correct. And with Chicago, we bring democracy of choice. And that's why, for this war, it's not about one oligarchic point of view. We bring a democratic point of view. For freedom and a parliamentary choice. So, Fee, I know you'll come back to Chicago someday. And she took the initiative, her and Pasta took the initiative to go to an area without me and Daniel, get them Chicago-style pizza. And they got it on their own. And they said they weren't impressed by it. They went to the wrong spot. They should have listened to us. They didn't listen. Now.
Okay.
And so the thing is, like, I just wanted to say, if you said it was a tie, I'd be like, you know what? Did you enjoy your meal? Was it delicious and nutritious? All I gotta do is say yes and be like, there we go.
Okay. I'm trying to get Pasta on my show too, but I don't think it's gonna go very well.
Well, tell him, hey, I'm bringing diplomacy and democracy here. Is Fiorella afraid of a democratic process? Is Fiorella afraid of diplomacy and dialogue? I guess so. But our forces will not give up. We got that 1, 2, 3, 4 combo. Plus, New York style hot dogs, Chicago style hot dog. No, we got the best food and cuisine ever. But it's okay. It's okay. You can get enraged, but you gotta calm down and have a sip of tea, and realize that there are other choices out there. Choose Chicago.
Yeah, you have been watching politicians so much in your life to the point where you sold that so well.
Hey, wait. There should be like the Chicago flag and like an eagle, and then I say we must give democracy a chance. Like a tear should roll out my eye. It turns into, and wait, and it turns into an eagle and it flies off into the American sunset. There we go.
Yes, I just made myself sound like an eagle. Oh my God. God, this is the best fight ever.
It is the best fight ever.
I'm gonna instigate the hell out of this on Twitter.
Yeah, but by the way, though,
what?
I think it was last year. Some magazine said that Portland, Oregon, had the best style of pizza out there. And I'm like, I saw that article. I'm like, first of all, fuck you. The big kids are talking. You sit your ass down, Portland. That was offensive.
Sounds like somebody's gonna have to send me a pizza from Portland, Oregon, so I can try it.
It'll probably be like gluten-free or organic or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man, Kit, you bring the fire as always. I am so happy to have you join me, man.
No problem. Always glad to be here.
Yeah,
always glad to be here. And by the way, Tai G, yes, I've been on Lee Camp's show before, and he was also on our show too as well. He does some great stuff. Be sure to check out his content.
Oh yeah. Please give to people like Lee Camp and Tara Reid and all of them that were basically let go by RT. Please make sure to give them a sub. Go to their Substacks, their Patreons, whatever. Support them because they have been under extreme censorship, especially lately. So make sure to to check them out too, because I would love to have a conversation with Lee Camp too. Lee Camp, if you're watching, come on over, man. The water's fine.
As you should. By the way, I also want to promote something too. Recently, Chicago Corner and Heartland's Media, because we're trying to stay one step ahead of the censorship, we also got onto CAN TV, which is a Chicago Access television network here in the city. So I'm actually here at the 99 Perspective Studio, and this is the set for Chicago Corner. There is, of course, Chicago Corner right there.
Nice.
Couch. This is obviously a chair I'm sitting in. That's a TV and stuff. And that's some of the other stuff for our studio here too. And behind me is our radio room. And interesting enough, I don't think I brought this up, but okay. So this building goes way back. Like the wood in here is 100 years old. So it's older than me. Way older than me. I'm 37, so I'm an old man already. So whatever. But behind me, which was once the radio room, it used to be like a cellar area during Prohibition to keep wine and alcohol in it.
Oh.
So like that's something funny. Like I find it interesting. Like we got a room that was breaking the law during the 1930s, which is
nice.
So much fun.
Wait, Kit, you said 37?
I'm 37 years old. Yeah.
Whoa, we're both born in 84?
85.
85. I'm older than you.
Yeah, God. I say, God's 1985, the same year Godzilla came back on the big screen, which is one of my favorite Godzilla movies, Godzilla 1985, which is really Godzilla 1984 because it came out in Japan in 84, but came to the States in 85. But whatever.
Yeah. I'll be 38 in about a month and a half or so.
Yeah.
So
yeah, February is my birth month, so it's already passed, but there we go.
Happy late birthday, man.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy year so far, but it's been very, very calm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice.
There we go.
Oh man, so look, hey, if you guys have not yet, please make sure to subscribe to Heartlands Media, Chicago Corner, and also I put kids social media also in the description along with Heartlands Media. Go ahead and give them a sub. If you can go to their different platforms that they're on besides YouTube, go ahead and go there too.
Yes.
And
I was going to say we're on Rockfin, Odyssey, Rumble, Twitch, and YouTube. We got Chicago Corner. We also have our own radio station that we're working on. That's something that Lily Peterson is building up called World Perspectives Radio Chicago. So we're working on radio. Heartlands Media and Chicago Corner is going on to CAN TV. And if you want to know more about our studio, you can find all of our media links there too. It's called 99perspectives.tv. That's the name of our studio, and we encourage everyone to learn more about Chicago, or if you have anyone that wants to use our studio space, because we're also a production studio too. Check out 99perspectives.tv. That's our studio.
All right. Thank you all so much. Please make sure if you have not clicked the like button. Why? Am I not good enough? Do you not like me? I mean, I thought we were friends. I thought we were going to frolic through the wildflowers together. If you want to frolic through the wildflowers with me, click the like button. All right. And then if you want to do long walks on the beach with me, please make sure to subscribe. And if you really want to go swimming in the deep blue sea with me, you'll click that link bell.
As you should.
I'm not a sea.
As they should. What's stopping you? What's stopping you? Yeah, what's stopping you from hitting that like button?
Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. Come on, man. Right?
There we go. We got music here. Everything's happening live and direct.
Yep. Okay, like I always say to everyone, I want to wish you all the best, all the love in the world. Please make sure to water your plants, water yourselves, leave the world better than you found it. Smoke them if you got them, and get a slice of pizza. Isn't that what the world is all about?
Chicago style pizza.
Yep, Chicago style kisses. Love you, forehead. Mwah. I love you, every single one of y'all. Y'all are beautiful. Frolic through the woods with me. Yeah.